Hi, my name is Valerie with Valerie Ford & Company, Keller Williams Realty, and I'm here to tell you a little bit about the first-time home buying process and what to expect. So first and foremost, you need to get in touch with a mortgage broker and be pre-qualified to see what payment you're actually comfortable with, because a lot of times you may have a house in mind, but the actual home payment is something that isn't comfortable for you for your day-to-day. And make sure that you may run the mortgage calculators online, but there's also taxes and insurance, and sometimes there's homeowner association fees that you just don't even take into account, that need to be acknowledged. And so after that process, then you find a real estate agent, and we have a great team. We have buyer specialists. I personally do not work with buyers. I'm just a listing specialist on the team, but I have some great buyer specialists that they do it 24/7. They probably wish they did it less, but they do a great job and they take care of all of our clients, and they're very familiar with the inventory and what's coming on and off the market. So you get an agent that you're comfortable working with, and then they'll go out and they'll sit down and do a needs analysis to really figure out how you live in your home, because that's important, because you don't want to get the shiny penny syndrome where you see something, you're like, oh, I have to have this house because it has a stainless steel side-by-side refrigerator, or French door refrigerator, or you really need to think about how you live in your home. Do you entertain often? Do you have out-of-town guests? Do you use your in-home office? Do you need to have a bedroom that is an office? Do you need a specific office space? Do you need a basement? Do you need a garage? I mean, there's so many factors that a lot of times you don't think about, but once we go through this needs analysis, you really start thinking about how you live in your home. And then once that process happens, then you go through the home search. And so we don't look at, sometimes you'll see something online and then us as the agent will look at it and say, you know what, this only meets about 50% of what you told me you had to have, so we probably shouldn't look at it. And so we'll really kind of whittle that down to about the ideal numbers, about 8 properties total over the course of the transaction before we find something that really works for you. So once we find that home, then we start the offer process. So we'll put an offer on the property, and sometimes the sellers accept, sometimes we'll get a counter. You just never know. This is the fun part for us as agents, because we're really working for you to try to get the best deal and get the price down for you, and make it work. And we really look for a win-win for all parties involved, and it's a fun process. And then once the property goes under contract, we typically recommend getting a home inspection, because you want to know what you're buying. You want to know that it's structurally sound, the age of the HVAC systems, the roofing, plumbing, all of the major systems, and make sure that you're getting something that that you are okay with. And then once we go through that process, so you can actually request repairs. If something comes up, then you can request, well, I can't live with the roof only having 2 years of life left. And so we would do an agreed repairs addendum where you would request for that to be repaired. And if the seller says no, then you have the option to either terminate the contract and get your earnest money deposit back, or to move forward. So once we move forward, the next kind of holdup we can have possibly is financing. So we'll go through the financing period, and once we get loan approval, it's pretty much smooth sailing from there. The sellers typically pay for a water, well, and septic if the property is on water, well, and septic. If it's city, they do not. If it's a bank foreclosure, it's 99.9% of the time the responsibility of the buyer to pay for the water, well, and septic. So that is something to keep in mind and to budget if you are looking at a bank foreclosure. But once we get to that process, then we do a final walkthrough before closing and make sure that everything looks the same as when you put the contract on the property, and then we're done. So it's not as painful as some people may think. Sometimes it can be. Sometimes it can be stressful, and I get it. It's a big purchase. So we're here for you, and we try to make it as pain-free as possible, and we would love to help. Thanks so much, and have a great day.